Don't get me wrong, I love being single and I love living alone.
So I have had quite a lot of people ask me.
I wanted to talk about how I budget my life as a single person.
Biggest traps of this era, because at the end of the day, like I said, the average man.
I think people should have more of a...
Being a single woman in London.
For how severely you screwed my life up.
So I have had quite a lot of people ask me how I've managed to afford buying my house alone. So I thought I'd make this video just to explain to everyone exactly how I did it. So when I was still at school, I was working various different part-time jobs, and I would put the majority of my earnings into different savings accounts. So I had two different savings accounts. I had a Tandem and a Help to Buy ISA with Nationwide, and both of those have helped a lot with my savings as it's given additional interest, so I'll get money back from it. And then when I was 18, I left school with my A-levels and somehow managed to land myself a very good traineeship in procurement. So I'm 22 now, and over the past 4 years I've worked really hard in that traineeship to promote, and that's increased my salary a lot compared to what I started on. And without the increase in my salary, I wouldn't have got this mortgage, as it's helped me borrow a lot more. So while I was still working, I was able to live with my mum, and obviously pay rent every month to her. But it's helped me a lot to be able to save as much as I can. I managed to save myself about 25 to 30,000 ready for my deposit. And then I basically found myself the house I wanted, which was this one here, and I paid the deposit. The first month was challenging because they took double mortgage payment. And I obviously had the bills, solicitor fees, legal fees, all of those, which hit me quite hard. But I was able to pay it, and all the following months since then have been so much easier to pay, and I'm really comfortable in paying it. I also get leftover money once all my bills are paid each month, which I'm now continuing to put into my savings accounts. I still have my Tandem account, so I'm putting my money aside into there. And couldn't recommend Tandem more, but that is basically my situation. So I hope it helps anyone that's also looking to buy or buy solo.
I think people should have more of a... show a bit more understanding. In 2024, you know how expensive it is?
Oh my God.
I'm seeing couples stay together because they can't afford to break up.
I'm telling you. Yeah,
Stay there and laugh. Stay there and laugh.
That's the truth.
You're kicking the person out, and all of a sudden that person's like, "What? I can't afford it. This is good for me."
Listen, you're kicking
This
that
offer is
person.
good for me.
Listen, that you're both going, let's say £900 each.
Yeah.
Just to live in this one place. Now all of a sudden your bill is a whole different thing when that person's gone. Yeah, mate. Nah.
Let's work it out.
Yeah. Let's
People work it out.
let's just stay together.
What? The gas prices are up. I'm seeing people going out of their house now. It's too expensive to stay in.
What prices is that? Everything's up.
And you want me to buy presents on top of that?
Yeah.
You're just lucky. Be lucky I'm breathing.
Yeah.
Be lucky I'm breathing. I'll figure out how to survive. Let's start again when that Kia guy gets kicked out of that bloody house. If he ever gets kicked out of the house.
Keir Starmer.
Whatever his name is, man.
Strongly.
Hopefully he can change a couple of things in the yard then, and then we have a better life. But right now,
Change. He's made shit worse.
I wanted to talk about how I budget my life as a single person who is in her 30s. I am probably going to make this a series because a lot of people have asked about finance, how I kind of afford things. And I'm going to be totally transparent. I'm going to tell you my wage, what I'm on. And the first thing I'm going to start with is how much money I earn from my 9-to-5 job, which is my main source of income. So I work in the charity sector. I'm on £37,500. So with £37,500 a year, this is what I come out with, which is £2,348. So I currently own a property, pay a mortgage on a property, and I'll do a separate video on that, but I own it with my sibling, so we pay half on the mortgage and the bills. So mortgage £389, council tax £97.50, Sky £56, Wi-Fi £17.50. The car tax is obviously I pay for myself, which is my car it is a Fiat 500. They are quite cheap to run and cheaper on repairs. Exactly why I bought it. I had a Corsa previously, which I had for 12 years, and I kind of kept that. I didn't want to have another car on finance because I just wanted to keep my outgoings as minimal as possible, knowing that I did want to own a house at one point in the future. And the reason why I replaced that car is because I was in a car accident and it got written off. So I currently have a Fiat 500 and the car tax is higher than I'd like to pay. My gym membership is £32 a month. I pay for Amazon Prime and my Netflix is actually bundled into my Sky package, so I don't have to pay for that separately. Life insurance is £40. I'm not sure I need to pay that anymore. And I need to double check on that, but that's something I haven't sorted out just yet. Travel for work. So I work in London and I pay twice a month to go into London, because the other 2 weeks I pay, my company pays for me to go to a different office. Petrol is £45 a month. Fiat 500s are actually really good on petrol. It cost me last week or the week before to fill it up, and it was £44. And I don't drive a whole lot. It's just kind of like a run around town. Obviously work from home, and I try and walk where possible. And I obviously get the train to work. Heating and electric is thankfully gone down from last year at £65 each for my brother and I. Water is £15 a month. And then I shop at Aldi and it's about £120 a month, there or thereabouts. My phone bill is £52 and that equals around £1,014. I then put savings away. Well, I haven't actually been able to do it a whole lot recently because I've had things to pay for, but I try and put about £300 a month into my savings, and that means I'm left with £1,000 to kind of do things around the house, pay for things that I want to pay for holidays. I had quite a busy year last year with holidays and weddings, and so I spent a lot of money. I'm going skiing in February, so that's taking up a chunk of my savings, and I also had to fork out a lot of money to pay for a new car. So I currently kind of try and live off £1,000 a month. I do like to go out to eat with my friends at the weekends. I don't drink a whole lot, so I don't spend a lot of money on drink. I do spend money on my house and myself when it comes to like clothes and makeup and hair care and, you know, skincare and stuff like that. So that is my wage broken down, and I will do another video on my mortgage, my bills, kind of how what I do with my savings, how much savings I have, and any money that I've kind of made on a side hustle through TikTok, which isn't a lot, but I will share anyway.
In the US, single people are in a financial catch-22. Let's talk about it. We've all seen the stories in the media of millennials having to move in with their parents because they don't have enough money to buy their own home or even rent. And that's largely because of student loans and debt that they had to take on in order to get college degrees. With the way the US works, it's really hard to be financially successful as a single person. For example, getting married, you get a tax break. That doesn't happen for single people. Rising rent, wage stagnation, and inflation, single people aren't saving. In fact, some are living paycheck to paycheck. This is becoming increasingly difficult for single people to be able to live autonomously on their own. Even making six figures isn't enough. 100K in some parts of the US isn't enough to live independently. Being single can be a huge financial stress.
Biggest traps of this era, because at the end of the day, like I said, the average man and women make around 40,000 to 45,000, and expenses are so high. We know that's you really can't get by on 40 grand. But if you team up with somebody, that's already off the top, almost a six-figure household. And how much difference is that from making 40,000 to 90, 100K? That's a huge, that changed your entire life.
Bro, that's so amazing you said that. I put out 2 forms of content, and literally it was about saying, do you want to be in a relationship, right? Because the average, in order to make ends meet, on the average income, whether you black or white or anything,
right,
you could really only live in 30 states.
That's crazy.
Like the actual, in order to make ends meet, in like obviously Hawaii is the most expensive, and it goes from like Hawaii to Massachusetts, New York, California, and I might miss one of like maybe Florida or something. But like if you make the average income, you could only live in like 20-30 states, and it's kind of crazy. But to your point, But if you married, if you collaboration, and that's something that when we start thinking about building generational wealth and rectifying and ensuring that we by 2053 don't have zero median income. Collaboration, right? We gotta not only maybe have 2-parent households, etc., but we also got to start investing. We got to change our relationship with money, right? We got to become life insured.
So if you're single and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, if I could just meet somebody, my life's going to improve, I would say that's a misconception, because 9 times out of 10, when you meet somebody, your life rarely improves. If anything, it gets more difficult, because you're now having to invest your time, effort and energy into another person. You need to make yourself available for them. You've got to be present. You've got to be doing things for them and with them. And so it distracts you away from doing your own stuff and distracts you away from your own personal goals. So I would say, if you are single, don't see it as a bad thing. See it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to reinvest all of your spare time, effort and energy into your own personal goals. So what I mean by that is, make sure you prioritize your physical health. Make sure if you're a little bit overweight that you do the work and get yourself down to the body weight that you want to be. Make sure you prioritize your mental health. So make sure you go to therapy. Make sure you understand and address your insecurities. Make sure that you know what your limiting beliefs are, and then do the work necessary to overcome those limiting beliefs and those insecurities. So prioritize your mental health. Get your finances in order. So I don't mean go out and make loads of money, but I mean get yourself out of debt. Stop spending money on pointless things and get your money right. Get your money in order. And so a lot of these things, working on your physical health, mental health and getting your finances straight, is quite difficult to do when you're dating or in a relationship with somebody else. So use the opportunity to make sure you spend all of your free time, effort and energy into making sure your life, your mental well-being, your physical health is the best it can possibly be. Because let's be honest, if you think somebody else is going to improve your life for you, then you are sadly mistaken. Nobody can improve the quality of your life for you. Thinking that somebody else is going to make your life better is the equivalent to thinking, if I could just get that promotion at work, my life will be great. If I could just get that new car, if I could just buy that bigger house, all of my problems will be solved. It's a misconception. So you're never going to be truly content, happy, relaxed until you fix all of the problems that you've got with yourself, whether they be mental, physical, financial, or all three.
Being a single woman in London can be quite costly, and I have been single my whole life. I'm about to turn 30 and I've lived in London for 5 years, and I can definitely say there's like a singles tax. Now, caveat to this is not a moan at all. I'm not like, well, I'm single, I have to pay for everything myself. It's more of like anybody else feel this? Now, I currently live with 3 of my friends. We live in a 4-bed house in South London. So obviously I pay rent and bills and all stuff like that. But I think the little costs that I notice are, when I do a food shop, you either have to bulk up and eat the same food over and over, or the things that are in like single packs or smaller packs are more expensive. So it's either eat the same food for ages or have no variety and have a bit of a discount. When you go to things like weddings, parties, events, etc., and partners are invited, you still go and still pay for a hotel as a single person. So usually the cost for all of that are double because it's not split. A present would just be paid by you. Hotel, drinks, travel, all stuff like that is paid by just you. Dating? Being a single person dating is expensive. Now, before the men come at me in my comment section like, oh, it's more expensive for the man to date because he's the one who pays for everything, I, most of the time, will offer to go halves on everything. If they offer to pay, obviously, lovely. But I will always do like rounds of drinks. Like, you're 10, my 10, you're 10, my 10. But if I'm doing that once a week, like, dating is still expensive. And there's no, like, alleviation of financial pressure. So I have to rely on myself. I can't rely on my parents. I don't have anybody in my family who's really wealthy that'll be able to give me money. So anything to do with money, I have to rely on for myself. And even though, I'm fine, I run a business. And when you are your sole provider and you quit your full-time job to run a business, there's a lot of pressure. I got a lot of friends in my industry who are like, oh my God, I can't believe that you did it without having like a partner that's supporting you. And then I'm like, yes, okay. So yeah. That's just some of my thoughts. If anybody else is single and lives in a city, well, actually is just single and wants to share their experience, please do.
Honestly, it looks like being single currently is the worst thing you can be in 2024 from the financial standpoint. I've just seen a data stating that the average single person spends over £800 a month more on housing, bills, and food in comparison to people who are in relationships. Obviously, we all know that it is considered a luxury right now to live on your own, and most of the people house share or stay at home with their parents because they simply cannot afford rent. But it is definitely way more comfortable and way more realistic for you to rent the apartment or even a house with your significant other than by yourself. I thought about it multiple times, how much money I would be able to save up if I didn't live on my own, if I was splitting rent and bills with someone else. I literally feel like I'm not only being punished by my own loneliness for not having someone in my life, but I am also very much punished by the economy and my financial situation all the time for having to do all of it by myself. And I don't feel sorry for myself because I put myself in this position. I'm okay being single. It's just frustrating and it makes me angry because I don't think this is the way it should be. I know owning your own apartment as a single person is something incredibly difficult right now, and only the wealthiest people with high earning jobs and good deposits probably are able to do so. But I also think UK's market in terms of the apartments and houses is mostly focused on houses. People here have a different mentality to Eastern Europeans. For example, in Poland, majority of people have apartments, and that's completely normal. Whether here everyone strives to own a house, and I think it's not only because there's a lot of houses and not that many apartments, and apartments are relatively not that cheaper to houses currently, but there's also this weird division between freehold and leasehold. From what I understand, when you buy apartments here, you don't actually buy them indefinitely. You have a specific number of years that you're kind of leasing this apartment, which you still technically own, but not exactly. You don't fully own it. You own it for like 100 years, sometimes a couple of 100 years, sometimes 60 years, and usually the price depends on it, which is very strange to me from Eastern European perspective, because I've never seen anything like it in Poland. Like, you just buy an apartment and it is yours the same way a house is yours. I genuinely wish they would build more apartment buildings with, for example, just one bedroom apartments only, or like studios for people who are single and don't need that much space, but they still want to own something and be able to have pets, because we all know what's the situation with renting with pets currently is. It's just terrible. I've seen data that it's only like 4 or 6% of landlords currently allowing pets in the apartments, which is crazy. You're taking away such a big part of life for people, which is having animals. You're just denying it from them. It's another thing that is taking away comfort of living and renting here. And let me know what you think, but I'm gonna be honest, I am a little bit frustrated that I feel this pressure on me recently to literally find a partner because of financial reasons, not because I want to fall in love and be with someone, but because I want to afford things and I can't afford them being single, which is crazy.
One of the things that single child-free people really want is just the validation and someone to hold the space for them when they say, this is fucking hard. Yes, I know that having kids is hard and being a single mom is hard. Of course it is. That's why we don't want to fucking do it. But every time we try to share that this is really hard to do all of this shit alone and to do life alone in this economy, it just gets like hijacked by the moms who are like, being a single mom is hard. Of course it is, but so is ours. And all we want is just the space and ability to be like, hey, it's really difficult to do this shit alone. Let me just move my penis mic for a second. I liked pink and I thought it was cool, but then I got it and I'm like, it looks like a penis. So let me just move that out of the way. I was sitting on my couch in my apartment that I live in by myself, and I'm fully aware that I could get a roommate, but I'm 43 years old and I kind of don't want that, and I just want to live by myself. So I was sitting on my couch thinking about, oh, I wonder when I get into a relationship, like, would he move in here? I'm not even actively dating, so I don't know why this popped into my head. But I was like, oh, would he move in here? And I'm like, no, there's not enough closet space. So we would have to upgrade into a 2-bedroom. And then I was like, oh, 2 bedrooms are more expensive. Yeah, but when you're splitting the rent with somebody, like, it's only going to be what, like $300-400 more than what I'm paying for a 1-bedroom by myself. So if we do the math, as a single person, I am paying like $1,000 more a month just to exist in my apartment that I don't share and split the rent for with anybody. I would actually be saving money moving in with someone and upgrading to a more expensive 2-bedroom apartment. Imagine what I would do with an extra $1,000 a month. So yeah, so I'm covering the costs of just like life in and of itself, an apartment, all of the bills. I'm doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the grocery shopping. If shit goes wrong with my car, guess who's got to bring it to the dealership? Me. Guess whose credit card that shit goes on? Mine. And yes, I am fully aware that these are all choices. Everything is always a choice, right? Like getting married to some dusty ass dude just so you can be like financially comfortable is also a choice. That is not a choice that I am willing to make, and I am fully okay with my life. And it is hard. Just like choose your hard. This is like choose your own adventure. It's okay that it's hard. It's okay that I'm not willing to sacrifice other things. And I just need a moment to say, like, yo, this is fucking hard. So all we want is just a fucking moment of carrying all of this by themselves, and you're doing it alone. And there's nobody to tuck you in at night and be like, hey, good job, champ, or I love you, or oh, baby, let me rub your feet. There's none of that. You're just out here doing it alone all day, every day. And I see you. To my single child free people, I see you. It is hard, and you have every right. You come into this comments and be like, thank you. It is hard for me. And you get to say that it's hard, and no one's going to talk you out of it. I will not hijack the situation, and I'm not trying to win, or nobody's really trying to win like the Struggle Olympics. It's okay that you get to speak and that it's hard. All right, so that's my piece. Single child free people. See you. Love you. And stick around. Make sure you like, follow, save, and share.